Hi everyone, welcome back to another video. I am doing another week in the garden style video where I'm going to bring you around and share just a few garden jobs that I get up to throughout my week. It is currently Tuesday afternoon and I don't plan on doing too much this afternoon in the garden, but there's a few little jobs that I wanted to get done. We have had quite a bit of rain over the last few days, or more the whole week really, which has been really nice because the garden I think really needed a little bit of a drink. We did get a lot of rain on the weekend though. We got about over 150 mil in a very short time span, about 24 hours. So that was a lot for the garden to handle. So I haven't really been out here doing too much because the garden is absolutely saturated. I have a whole video about what you should avoid and do for your garden after heavy rains, and I'm going to stick to a lot of what I spoke about in that video because just walking around in my gumboots, it is very wet around and it's just not really great to be working with soil when it is so saturated. Luckily, we did get in quite a few plants about 2 weeks ago, so they've all settled in and are probably really enjoying this rain that we've had. But I do have a lot more plants to get in the ground. I have all of my anemones and ranunculus to plant in the flower farm, and I just have a bunch of other things that I want to get started, and also some other trees and plants that I want to plant around the property. But like I said, I have really been enjoying just a little bit of a break. I've been starting lots of seeds and starting all of the extra ranunculus and anemones. So they are all started and they are all starting to sprout, which is great to know that the corms are actually viable and I can plant them in the ground. And there's just a lot of other beautiful things happening in the garden right now. We have lots of mushrooms popping up everywhere, and mushrooms are my favorite things ever really. I really love seeing mushrooms sprout up, and it just shows that there's a really great diversity of microbes and fungi in the soil, and wherever the mushrooms pop up just means they're continuing to help to break down all of that material that I've laid on the surface. So around a lot of the paths that we've covered with wood chips, and just even in the grass, seeing the mushrooms pop up is really nice. I'm not really an expert on being able to tell what mushroom is what, but that's fine. They're all going to stay in the ground and they look really cute. But for this afternoon, I'm standing here in front of one of the bird feeders that I have. And I picked up some bird food the other day that I'm just going to fill up a few of the bird feeders that we have around the garden. I'm a big believer in just providing for wildlife that is existing. I mean, we've taken so much from nature that I really feel like I want to give back however I can. So I do like to provide things like bird baths and a little bit of food in the garden other than what is in the trees and the plants. The birds can take what they need and hopefully I can have some too. But I am going to fill up some of the bird feeders with some seed mix that I bought. It's got pretty natural ingredients in there, and I made sure to pick one that is kind of okay for wild birds as well. Again, I'm not an expert on this, so if you have any other recommendations on what I could be feeding the different parrots around, then please do let me know. But I do think that if you can, providing natural food wherever you can is a really good thing to do. A lot of people are against it, but I personally just, like I said, we've taken so much habitat away. I think it's the least we can do to just provide a little bit for the wildlife that is still left in these areas. So I'm just going to go around and fill up those bird feeders, clean the bird bath, just give everything a bit of a refresh. It is going to rain again later, but at least I can get some of the food out and clean up some of the bird baths so that they can have nice fresh water. I thought while I was down here at the bottom of the garden, I would just give an update on some of the plants that we planted in the last few years. Everything has grown so much, and I'm so happy with a lot of the natives that we've planted down here. So I'll turn you around and show you what everything's looking like. So like I said, this is the back of the property, and we usually just plant trees down here, mainly because it gets really boggy and all the water in the property drains down to here, and there's kind of like a bit of a drainage area behind there on the neighbour's property. But this is where like the flower farm ends, and then we've planted some native trees and some other trees around here just to fill in the space and provide a little bit of habitat. The ones that are the tallest we've planted are some bleeding hearts. These are a native homolanthus species, and I absolutely adore these so much. They are a pioneer species, so that basically means in nature these will grow really tall, really fast, really quickly, and the goal of that is to provide a canopy for a lot of the slower species to then be able to grow and to have shelter and protect the soil below. They usually produce a lot of biomass, and they don't last for too long, but these are absolutely beautiful. Sorry about all the bird noises, there's a lot going on. Lots of cockatoos eating everyone's citrus at the moment, that's what's happening. But yeah, these are so beautiful, and will hopefully kind of like all three of them will touch as a canopy, and I think this will just be a perfect little spot to have a seat down here. We've kind of just sectioned it off so the mowers don't come in, and it's had cardboard and things over the grass as well. I do have another bleeding heart planted here. This was planted a while ago, a bit later than the other ones. Obviously it's very small. The things around them are actually kitty litter, so all of the cat litter that we use is biodegradable and is fine to just put around native trees. It degrades very quickly and just provides a little bit of mulch. This here is a Davidson plum that was so slow when it started growing, but this year it's kind of bounced back a little bit, and I'm finding that's kind of what's happening with a lot of the tube stock we've planted. The first year is really slow, and then the second year they almost double or triple in size. This is also where we have our compost bin. We have an acacia species planted here. I think this might be by Nevada. It's either Maydenii or by Nevada. Jeff from Whitbird Environmental would know because I got the plants from him. But yeah, this obviously has grown so tall. This was planted as a tiny tube stock, and this will grow and create some canopy and habitat for birds. Got another acacia planted here as well. Then another bleeding heart behind that. And then a few other trees here that have, they're just very slow, and I'm not too sure why. It's probably because they're planted under these massive casuarinas and eucalypts. I think they're taking a lot of the nutrients, but that's okay. They're still looking fine. This is a native dogwood tree, and I just like the look of the leaves. I just think they're really interesting. So wanted to plant that down here, and it doesn't mind a bit of shade, which this area usually gets quite a bit of shade. It was looking so sad before, and it's looking a bit better. Where the lawn hasn't been mowed, there's actually a lot of native ground cover as well. Got some native geranium coming up and other dichondra. So it's kind of nice to see that it's protecting the soil itself here around some of these trees. And then moving on from there, I think this is a white beech tree. I don't have the tag. Oh, it's very, very wet in there. The soil is so saturated down here, but this one's very slow growing. We'll hopefully pick up this year. I've also got another bleeding heart planted over there. Here is a native Pittosporum that I propagated. It self-seeded itself in the garden, or in the flower farm, and I planted it down here, which is good because actually this tree here on the neighbour's property was also a Pittosporum, but it has since died. I can't see any new growth on it, so it was a really beautiful tree. but I'm hoping this one can replace it. Then we've got another bleeding heart here. Can you tell I love these? They're just so beautiful. Like, look at that. It's so beautiful. In the mornings, they, and now actually there's a little bit, they really hold the morning dew. So when I come down here in the mornings, they're covered in just like a little bit of a silver sheen from all of the water droplets, and they look so beautiful. And then the last one, I have a muttonwood planted here. Again, so slow in its first year, but it has, really grown amazing in the last few weeks. Actually, it's just kind of taken off. And I also really love the leaves on this tree. This is a native rainforest species. It just looks so beautiful, the new growth. And I'm really happy with this one. So I hope this grows well. I don't think this grows too tall, muttonwoods, but I would love a few more of these actually. They are so beautiful. So that is a little look at a few of the plants that we have down here. We did originally plant a lot of different ones, and some didn't work out, just didn't like the soil down here, but that's fine. We've replaced it with ones that I know are going to grow well. And they're all surrounded by this beautiful pear tree, which we don't really get any fruit off. It's mainly just an ornamental pear tree. It has beautiful blossoms in spring, and I just absolutely love it. It looks very old and is such a character to this area of the garden. And of course we do have other natives planted around the gardens, like along the fence lines, but I've kind of showed you that in other videos. I love planting natives and increasing just tree coverage in my garden. It just brings in so many birds and is so peaceful. And I just think it's one of the best things that you can do for nature if it's something that you're passionate about and you care about it. Even if you've just got a balcony garden, planting something that flowers for pollinators is super important. And I think any little things that we can do, whether it's planting native trees, growing flowers in containers, anything is good for nature, and just makes me feel good and really feeds my soul as well. And it also just makes it such a pleasant experience to come out in the garden and enjoy the sounds of nature, and know that you are helping and contributing to habitat and all of these species' survival, I suppose, for what small habitat they have left. Makes me feel good, so that's why I do it. And I would definitely encourage you to also try out growing something for nature as well. So I have pretty much finished up for the season with flowers. I'm no longer advertising that I have fresh flowers available. So I've taken them off the website, and I'm kind of not really doing too many markets either. And I think that was a really good decision for me, because I was just getting really burnt out, and I really needed to spend a bit of time behind me here, just starting all of the new flowers. So I've been starting lots of the spring flowers that I will hopefully be planting over the next few weeks. And I just needed kind of a definitive end to the season. Ideally, I would have loved to do Mother's Day, and this video should be coming out on Mother's Day, so happy Mother's Day to all those mothers in the world and those who fill the role of being a mother as well. Happy Mother's Day to you. Yeah, it would have been really nice to have flowers for Mother's Day, because I had quite a few people asking me, but unfortunately I don't have enough. The zinnias, they're all looking really sad. The dahlias are done. I'm also getting eaten alive by mosquitoes, so I'm going to have to go put some mosquito repellent on. It's time to finish up, so that's what I've done. Now I do have a lot of ranunculus and anemones which really need to get in the ground. I was planning on doing that today actually, however I am not going to do that before the really heavy rain that we're getting over the next few days. And I really don't like to plant a lot when we're about to get heavy rain or when it is raining a lot. And that's purely because it's for a multitude of reasons, but when planting things like corms, they can have a tendency to rot in the ground if they're exposed to a lot of water and a lot of moisture, which in the case of anemones and ranunculus, that's what I'm planting. But also we have very clay soil here, and when you dig a hole in clay and you plant your plants, all can be well and good if it's not raining a lot, but if you are going to get heavy rain, you can actually have a lot of backfill and compaction when the water comes, and fill in a lot of those holes where you've planted plants, and can just make root development a little bit harder, and the plants just don't thrive as much. We have so much water in the ground right now. I can just see and feel walking around. It is very sludgy, so I am going to hold off on planting, but I'm still going to try and just clear some of the beds today, and then probably put some cardboard or black plastic on top of them to prevent the runoff and leachate of all of the good compost and materials that I've laid on the soil. So I'll turn you around and kind of give you a bit of an overview on what my plan is for this flower farm to get it back up and running and ready for spring flowers. So here is a little overview of the flower farm. Sorry about the wind, it's probably just going to pick up here and there. So I've actually already cleared and prepped this row here. I've laid compost and some horse manure on here, so I just need to cover that section to prevent any of that washing away. I've half done this row and need to continue with the zinnias here, so that's going to be the first job for today. And then I'm going to use that black plastic down there. There's actually some mulch under there that I need to move, and I'm going to add that on top of this bed to make sure that anything doesn't wash away, because I really want to retain as much soil as I can. Other things I need to work on, I need to cover this row. This has eryngium in it and I really want to kill it and make it die back. It's way too vigorous, and I haven't really got enough flowers from this. It could be great in a perennial bed and I could move it, but I just don't really want to spend the time doing that. This is supposed to be a really productive area and it's just not really cutting it. I need to move this black plastic probably after the rain actually, because this will all be prepped under there, and then all of here I need to cover this because this has just got weeds galore. And it's pretty similar with most of the rows. The next row has all the straw flowers that I need to take out, some more zinnias that also need to come out. I need to weed this bed here, and then the dahlias down there, I need to lift them up over the next few weeks. Hopefully they'll be fine with all this rain. I just don't really want to think about it right now. Hopefully they'll be fine. But yeah, I've got a lot of clearing to do. I'm going to just try and stay up near the top of the flower farm though, and that is because down here it's very, very soft, and I just don't want to be walking too much on really soft ground. It's a little better up the top where it's a bit higher, but yeah, you can kind of see where I'm walking, like there's just mud everywhere, and it's really not the most ideal conditions to be working out here and doing things like pulling plants and what I'm doing today, but I am running the risk of falling behind if I don't actually start doing this. I have waited a week for the rain to stop and I've got a bit of a clear afternoon, so I really need to make the most of it because yeah, I don't really have the time to just sit around and wait for the rain, because I have crops that need to get in the ground. They should already have been in the ground, but yeah, I've just been waiting for the weather. So it hasn't really been in my favour, but hopefully we can just get at least these zinnias done before some rain hits. And what I'm going to be doing to also retain as much organic material in the soil is just by snipping them off at the very base as close as I can to the ground, and then those roots will just decay over time. That's what I did with the rest of the row, and nothing has sprouted so far, so yeah, I'm fingers crossed that that works for this as well. Right, so I'm just having a quick little tea break because I got rained out and it just kind of was raining for about 20 minutes or so. So I came in for a break. But before I head back out to the flower farm, I think I want to pick some calendula from the cottage garden before the rain really gets it tomorrow and the next day. You've seen me do this multiple times, and I usually do this just every few weeks, pick some calendula and dry it on just a drying rack, and then I use this in my bath salts and for other craft projects that I do around the house. So I always like to have dried calendula on hand, and I'm trying to build up my stock as well to be able to stock it on the website. I just haven't been able to grow enough to have like consistent supply, but that is the hope. And maybe I might even plant like a row or half a row of some calendula in the flower farm because it grows so well here, and now is the perfect time to get it in the ground. Alright, I think that is good from the garden right now. I'm going to take these inside to dry, and I think I'm just going to head back down to the flower farm, get some work done. It is still raining a little bit and I can see some rain just about to come over, but I am going to put my hood on and get to work because I'm sick of this rain. I'm going to really fall so far behind if I just keep having days like this. So I'm going to keep the camera inside because this is a very expensive piece of equipment. And hopefully this afternoon or at some point I can come out and just talk you through what I've done. I have a few other rainy day activities that I've planned for tomorrow, including potting up all of the status seedlings that I have, and I have a few other things that I just want to plant around the garden, including these violas that I picked up in another video. I want to plant these in a pot that has some jonquils popping up. I think they'll be really pretty with those. So yeah, I have a few rainy day activities that I can do tomorrow, so I'll save that for then. But for now, I just want to get as much clearing as I can do in the flower farm and cover it all up with cardboard and plastic to prevent any soil eroding like I was talking about before. Because yeah, I have lots of plants that really need to get in the ground and time is running out to actually get them in the ground. Right, it is almost 5 and the sun is going down, but I thought I would show you what we managed to get done. There's still a little bit to do in terms of covering up some of the beds, but I'll turn you around and show you what everything is looking like. So it's looking very different now. We have covered up most of the beds that I wanted to do today. So I'm feeling good that the soil isn't going to wash away from a lot of these beds. I didn't really have enough cardboard to do everything, and I need a break this afternoon, but I managed to clean out all of the zinnias here. I put a tarp over all of those eryngiums, so that'll take a while to break down. I don't expect it to fully die back and break down, but what it is going to do is just allow all of those big tap roots in there to loosen up just a little bit, which makes it easier to then pull out the plants. I also managed to do a bit of weeding that you saw around the status bed, which is over here. I'll walk over there. Scott managed to move all of that mulch and mulch this pathway, so this is all clear now. This bed is all clear. I really wanted some more cardboard to cover this, but I think it'll be fine just with this mulch. layer here to prevent some soil moving around. I still need to weed a little bit more of this status bed, but I don't like to do too much weeding before lots of rain, but I did want to just isolate some of the plants so you can actually see where the plants are located now. And I will continue to weed this after the rain, and then where the cardboard is now, I'll plant some more status there to fill out this bed. And then the bed over, I took out all of the sunflowers that had gone over. Just fell into a hole there, yikes. And I just trimmed them off at the base, so you can kind of see there's still actually all of the roots below the soil there, and they're going to break down over time. And I am actually going to plant some green manure in here, I think. And I need to just go find the seeds and get that in either tonight or tomorrow morning and just rake it through so that all the seeds can germinate here. You can kind of see that the bed is a little bit lower in elevation than the other two pathways, and I want to build up some organic matter in here. So I think green manure will do the trick here. And then you would have seen me just layer, these are just cornflowers that self-seeded themselves in both this bed and that bed over there. At the very ends, I just piled up some of those. I know they're not going to keep continuing to grow, and they'll just be able to prevent any of the grass kind of encroaching onto the bed here. So that is about it for the work today. The frogs are starting up. I hear them every night, and lately they have been so loud because they're just so happy with all of this rain. That's another reason, and I speak about this quite a lot in my videos, why I like to work slowly in the garden and why I like to do things like this where I'm covering a certain area rather than just like broad forking and breaking it up all at once. I definitely do use my broad fork, but I try to not do that when it is really wet just because of the clay issues in our soil. But working slowly in the garden and the flower farm just means that if there are any frogs in the way, which I did see a cute little green frog that was hopping around, if there's any frogs or wildlife, they have a chance to be able to move from that patch where I'm working to another area rather than just like removing all of the plants from this whole flower farm altogether, just because I know that there's lots of frogs and bugs and just lots of wildlife in this patch. But yes, that is me done for today. I am super muddy right now. It's pretty disgusting, and I am very ready for a shower, so I'm just going to tidy up the rest of this stuff. I've got a wheelbarrow load over there to take to the compost, and yeah, then settle in for the night, hoping that it's not going to rain too much tomorrow morning and I can get some seeds started, which is tomorrow's job, and also potting up all of those status seedlings. Good afternoon, everyone. It's actually been quite a nice day so far, which has been nice to have a bit of a break from the rain. Unfortunately, I have been doing computer work all day though, but I wanted to come out while it's still not raining. I can see dark clouds over there and I think it is going to start soon, but I wanted to come out and just pot up the status seedlings that need to go into their individual pots right now. The plants in the trays are looking a little sad. They're starting to look a little discolored, getting a little bit of the reddish tinge to the leaves, and that basically means that they need a little bit more nutrients, and I think a lot of this rain has leached out a lot of nutrients from the seed trays. So you would have seen before I was making up some potting mix, and I added in a little bit of homemade compost and some blood and bone into that just to give it a little bit of extra nutrients. When you think of it, the plants are kind of graduating from where they've germinated into larger pots, and as they grow and get larger, they need more nutrients. So that's usually how I like to make my potting mix, and I do like to add a bit of perlite in as well just to break up the mixture. I was also making sure to wear gloves and a mask as well. I get my gloves from Aussie Gardener. It's a great online store for garden supplies, and these gloves are one of the best I've found. They last a long time. They're very breathable for like warmer climates. I really liked using these throughout summer, and they have that kind of more protective green part on them in case you are working with any kind of fertilizers or chemicals or anything like that. So you can always find a link to these in the description box and to the store itself. It does support me a little bit if you use my link and then make a purchase, so I am truly grateful for anyone who uses that link to make yourself a purchase. And the team over there are really helpful and lovely, so it's just a really nice company to support. Yeah, safety is something that I am really focusing on. I am always wearing gloves in the garden at the moment. I actually the other day saw a redback spider. It was right next to my hand as I was kind of working around where I have all of my little seedlings, and I do not want to get bit by one of those, so I always make sure to wear gloves whenever I'm moving trays around. Spiders are usually out at this time of the year, and they do like drier places, so like sheds and areas where you've stacked up pots and plants. That's where you'll probably find them. So yeah, definitely make sure to stay safe in the garden. Safety is just something that is a no-brainer to me. With running a flower farm, my health is obviously vital to be able to run this and to stay like physically fit, so I'm always wearing gloves, always wearing boots, no questions asked. But back to potting up some of my status, I'm going to go do that and pot them up into individual little tube stock kind of pots. I find they work really well. They don't take up too much soil, and the plants do pretty well in them. And then once they get a bit larger, then I'll plant them out into the ground. So I'm going to get on to doing that depending on how much time I have with the rain coming. And then I do want to plant those, what have I got? These strawberries and cream pansies either today or tomorrow. Again, depending on the rain. How many times have I said that in this vlog? I have no idea. Yeah, it's looking a little bit mean over there, so we'll see how much time I have, but at least I can just get at least one thing done in the garden. Makes me feel better, makes me feel like I am keeping on top of things, because that's kind of what the last few days has been all about, and I've spoken about this, that I just really don't want to be falling behind with this flower farm. So if I do just one thing a day in the garden, then I feel good. think I'm going to finish off this vlog here. I really hope you enjoyed seeing a few days in the garden. I had plans to film a little bit more, but I am going to be rained out very quickly, so I wanted to just finish this off now. If you would like to see any more content, I do have a Patreon where I share extra content over there, and thank you so much to all of those people who support me over there. It truly does help me out so much. And if you want, you can also buy me a coffee. I have that link in my description box as well if you want to financially support the channel. It takes a lot of hours and a lot of time to get these videos done, and your support means the world and just means that I can continue to make these videos for you. I'm going to head inside and go and enjoy my Friday night, but if you did enjoy this video, make sure to give it a like. That also really does help me out and is completely free for you. Thanks so much again for watching. I hope you're having a lovely day wherever you are in the world, and until my next one, happy gardening everyone. Bye.